So we moved to Guatemala.
And we thought the hard part was quitting our jobs. It wasn't.
In today's episode, we're talking about what actually happened when the dream began.
We're talking about culture shocks, finding a place to live, what it's like building a life in a new country that felt like home but wasn't yet. Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes. Welcome back to the Born to Be Local podcast. Last episode, we talked about how we moved out of the country to start this travel company and the process to do so.
This episode, we're going to take you to the moment that we landed in Guatemala and asked ourselves, what should we do now? So after traveling for 3 months around Europe together, we landed in Guatemala.
We had a layover somewhere in
Texas.
Yes, we had a layover in Texas and we met up and we both bought like first class tickets.
Because we had so much luggage, it just made sense, like our check-on bags. And it was nice. It was a nice little treat.
It was. And also, you're like on a plane going to a country, like moving there. And like, what a crazy feeling. Because you're on a plane and you're thinking, like usually when you're on a plane, you're like, oh, I'm going on vacation. But like we had virtually all of our stuff with us. And we were like, yeah, we're going here for what we thought was going to be the next 3 months. So.
Yeah, one-way ticket.
And I have a photo that I took like a selfie this time. And when we were on the plane, and it's just crazy to think back on. But we arrived and we had booked a Airbnb for a week, and we were like, we're giving ourselves a week to find something for a longer term lease.
Yeah, and we found something right at the last minute, but the Airbnb that we booked was just a foreshadow for the next house that we found.
It was a cute Airbnb, but they missed in the description that there were tenants there already. Multiple small tenants everywhere.
Yeah, we were not alone.
No, we were not alone. This Airbnb was infested with cockroaches and spiders, but more so cockroaches. And let me just tell you, this is a huge foreshadow to our near future of finding a longer term lease.
But we spent our time wisely in that Airbnb, and we looked all over Facebook Marketplace, everywhere to try to find something for 3 months because we thought we were just going to be there for 3 months. So we needed a good space to work from, and we found it. It was stunning.
We looked at so many properties and contacted all of our friends just trying to find the right place for the 3 months. And literally at the last minute, one of the realtors that had shown us a different property, he was like, the classic, like, I know you like this one. I have another property that's a little bit outside of your budget. And you may want to take a look. And we're like, okay, let's take a look. Of course we go. It's also in the middle of the night. It was like at nighttime when we looked at the property.
True.
And we took one step in and we were like, this is the house.
Yeah.
This is the house. This is like, we really are the type of people that need a creative space. And as soon as we walked in, high ceilings, huge table in the dining room. Might I add, this was a 4-bedroom house. We're 2 people. We didn't need 4 bedrooms, but the big space that it had, like for creativity and just like starting a business, we wanted a big space that we could work in. We were like, we need this house. It really is a great house.
Yeah.
From the looks.
Beautiful garden in the back, which had problems later on. Yeah. Huge kitchen, a lot of natural light. We're like, okay, we feel comfortable being here every day because we're inside for hours every day just working. And it was a good space to do that from.
And it was perfect until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay, until it wasn't.
Yeah. The house was situated right in front of or behind an abandoned coffee plantation. So the coffee plantation wasn't being cured or treated or anything. All of the little bugs and spiders came into our yard, our house. We had the food. We had everything. So we had other tenants move in again.
Just imagine we move into this house and we are on cloud 9, the best house ever. Also, you could not get a house for the price like this where we were living in California. Obviously, like the cost of living in Guatemala is very different. So we're just like, this is a bitchin' house. It's amazing. It's going to be awesome. We move in and it's fine. And then like a week passes and I think like the first major encounter with a small, what looked like a rodent, okay, but was a spider, was in our kitchen, and I think I was like cooking breakfast, and all of a sudden a ginormous spider comes out of nowhere and I'm like freaking out. Erin comes over to kill it. It immediately starts charging at her. I've never seen a spider charge a human, but just runs after her, and we like squashed it with a brick. Also, if you don't like killing insects, don't listen to this episode, okay? We killed 6 spiders a day.
Yeah.
6 spiders a day at this house. It went from seeing 1 a day to seeing 2 to seeing 5 to just being like in fear in our own house all the time.
These are large, furry spiders. They had hair, they had big eyes. They were not little like, oh, let me just squash it with a shoe. It's like
No.
they were very large.
We used a brick for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay. And this became, unfortunately, a daily thing. And so we pretty much lived out of hotel rooms that our landlord had to put us in because he tried to solve the spider issue. So what do you do to solve a spider issue? Well, you spray the house. Now, what they didn't know is that there was actually spider nests inside of the wood of our roof, because it is like an old Antigua home. And so every time they sprayed, it actually made the spider issue worse, because the families of spiders that were living in our roof were now escaping to inside of the house. And not just inside of the house, in our beds.
In the beds.
In the beds. We came back after 1 spraying. I lifted my covers, but they had crawled into the beds.
Because they put plastic covering over the beds, like to protect the furniture, I guess, and like the sheets and everything. So that's where the spray wasn't. So all of the spiders were crawling in there for safety.
It was traumatizing. And there's the most traumatizing story out of all of the stories is a story with me. And I am graciously using the restroom, okay? I'm using the restroom with my door closed in my bathroom. I'm on my phone, and out of the corner of my eye, might add, my toilet and my door were very close to each other. Very close to each other. Like where the camera is to me. Maybe even a little less. I'm sitting on the toilet. I'm on my phone. Out of the corner of my eye, I see once again what looks like a rodent crawling down my door, okay? The size of my hand, a spider the size of my hand crawling down my door. I'm like, Erin, she comes in. I immediately hop up. My pants are off. Okay, my pants are off. I'm on the toilet. I hop up and I stand in the shower. I'm like, bring a broom, bring the raid, bring the everything. Like, oh my God, it was the biggest spider we had seen at that point. And
we Google searched images of it. It was a Chilean recluse.
So it wasn't like we were being dramatic, like we see spiders. No, these were like venomous, poisonous, whichever it is, spider experts.
Like, I think we probably took off so many years of our lives with the amount of Raid that we sprayed in the house and the amount of times that they like fumigated the house.
Yeah. At this point, we were like 3 months is not going to be enough. We dealt with this for pretty much the whole 3 months of us being in that house. And so they just could not solve the problem. So thank God, we made the decision to move out of that house. And again, we looked at probably 15 different properties and finally found a house that was like the house. And this one wasn't infested with spiders. This is a positive ending. Okay. Fairy tale ending to this. This was a great house and great location. But we finally found a new house. And that's really when like the work started.
So what does the foundation of building a business actually look like?
I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's different for every business.
It is. We kind of jumped right into it. All we knew coming here was that we were going to be here for 3 months, trying to figure out a group trip to put on with Born to Be Local. And we knew we wanted to bring people here and show them Guatemala.
And so that's really what we started with, was like the idea, and then being like, okay, we need to start piecing things together. How could we do this logistically? So we seriously, in our spider house, we had bought a big whiteboard, and we'd sit down for hours a day just writing ideas on the whiteboard, figuring out like what we wanted the actual company to be like. I got the advice from somebody I used to work with that's really good in business, and he talked about how important branding is and your brand image. And he said that your brand is what people feel when they read your name. And so like I told Erin this, I was like, this is going to be key. It's what do people feel inside when they hear Born to Be Local. Now at the time it wasn't called Born to Be Local. We decided and came to that conclusion when we were in the house, was like, okay, the company is going to be called Born to Be Local. what does this mean to us and what do we want it to mean to other people? So we really worked off of that foundation.
Yeah, it was a whiteboard, us, big table, and Canva. Building the brand kit, looking at like different inspiration boards and different colors, and just really trying to piece it all together.
If you ask somebody that started like a multi-million-dollar business, I don't know what it's like, but I do think back to the fact that the guy that owns Amazon like sold books out of his garage. We were in our pajamas for months in our living room writing on a whiteboard. So that's, I feel like those stories are similar. I hope it leads to the same success, but really just putting all our ideas out and defining like what we see for the future and how we think we're going to get there was crucial, and just building the brand. Like we knew we wanted a travel company, but there's so many travel companies out there. So how were we going to differ ourselves? And that's really like the important message behind Born to Be Local, is trying to give people more of a local experience. We needed to become locals ourselves, hence why we moved there, and we wanted to spend more time in Guatemala to figure out where people should go. So we based it off of this idea. Simultaneously, while we're building our branding and really like the nitty-gritty of a business, of course, social media was a huge part of our lives already before we moved here and before we started this project. So we were like, okay, let's just start posting. And I got some business consulting from, again, somebody I used to work with, and he was just like, you guys just got to start posting and see what resonates. Even if it's not specific to your company yet, just getting followers on social media and getting people to pay attention to you.
Yeah, we definitely, I will say, I'm like proud of us for thinking about like, okay, starting with one thing. Like we knew we wanted to bring people here on group trips. So we started with that. And then we were adaptable and just started like, okay, well, we want to bring people to Guatemala. Let's show them what Guatemala looks like. So then we started filming everything and filming different things that we were doing, like going and trying Pollo Campero for the first time, which is like the most popular fast food chicken restaurant here. So we filmed ourselves doing that. We're like, why don't we just post this on TikTok? Like, let's just try it. Let's see what the people think. And that was really the first video that kind of like took off for us in a way. And that was the beginning of the Buenos Tardes girls eating all around Guatemala. We saw that worked and people liked seeing two gringas trying stuff in Guatemala. So we're like, okay, let's run with this. Like, let's keep it going. So we kept doing it, and we kind of became like the faces of the brand, which wasn't the plan in the beginning. It was very like travel company focused, posting like really aesthetic, beautiful clips, and which we still incorporate that now, but I think we brought a lot of personality to the brand getting in front of the camera.
People really resonate with the people behind the company and not just the product itself. So like our product is travel, but like we're trying to sell people on why we're doing this in the first place, like why we started this company. And so I think like this happy accident of eating fried chicken and then us becoming the Buenos Tardes girls that eat. I think that like that was a really blessing in disguise, because it like we were able to show our personalities, show that we were open to trying things throughout Guatemala, and really like started the social media journey as much as we did the travel company, which, they go together now. Like we do social media in the way that we do, like we became influencers here because we want to showcase our travel company and what we're trying to do with that. Like that's the ultimate goal. It's just that people are able to like personalize the business instead of it just being a travel company. It's like, oh, these two girls are the girls behind it. And I think like that's valuable. I never wanted to be the influencer, I love it now. But at first I never would have expected nor wanted to like do the influencer side of what we do. And it's become a blessing, obviously, for the business. And it's just so fun because we obviously love traveling throughout Guatemala and showcasing it.
Yeah, we've gotten to do really cool things with it that I don't think we would have been able to do if we didn't have this side of the company. So it has been a blessing in disguise.
Simultaneously, while we're doing this social media and posting videos, trying to like build the framework of Born to Be Local, we had just moved, short term to a new country, a very, very different country. I'm from Orange County, California. I've only ever lived in Los Angeles, Orange County, and now Guatemala. So it was a bit of an adjustment.
It was. It's, it is a big jump to do that.
But really, when I think about the things, because people do ask me this, like, what is it like being there? And I just think like it actually, when we moved here, life was easier for me. Like life became easier. It was so much more stress-free. I feel like all of my insecurities about like looks and all that, like being in a place like Orange County, I love you. I know we're don't going down this path again where I'm talking shit, but like all of the insecurities and all like the boy drama and the this and the that like left my brain when I came here. And it's just like nobody cares about that.
No.
Everybody just like wants to live life in the best way possible. There's a lot of like business owners and startups and stuff here. And I feel like my life actually got easier. Except for one thing in particular. I like to eat. I like to cook. Grocery stores, meat, things like that. This is truly, when people ask me like what's the hardest thing about living in a foreign country like that, it's the grocery stores. We in America overconsume and have everything at our fingertips at all times. Mm-hmm. All times. And you don't realize it until it's all taken away from you. There's no Sephora. There's no Amazon easily to your doorstep. There's no Target. There's no...
Oh, Target. I miss Target.
There's no Trader Joe's. You know, I can't just go to Trader Joe's and buy natural peanut butter easily.
Yeah.
Okay?
If you need medicine at 3 a.m, you can't just go to Walgreens, like a 24-hour store, and go get it.
It doesn't exist. So you have to adjust life to that. Sometimes I can't buy lemons. Sometimes I can. Sometimes I can't. You know, it's little things like that like, oh, cans of tuna.
We bring like 13 cans of tuna back from the States with us whenever we come back here.
Yeah. Like we go with an empty suitcase and we come with like multiple jars of natural peanut butter and cans of tuna.
Yeah. Also, like electronics and just random things are a lot more expensive here because it's imported. Like I needed a new straightener and we went to Samaco or something to go look for one. It was $70. The same like Revlon straightener that I could get at Walgreens for $25 or something. $70.
So it's adjustments like that, you know? A lot of the times people ask us about safety too. And I just think like any place you travel, you're just more aware.
It's also just a different like culture here. People are a lot more conservative with what they wear, what they do. And it's a very Catholic country. So I think that plays into it, like the more conservative side of things. People are in like business casual going to the club here.
Totally. You will see a blazer.
Yeah.
You will see a blazer at the club. And it reminds me a lot of Mexico City because we were just in Mexico City recently. It's like people dress up and they're more conservative. And honestly, it's kind of refreshing. Of course, sometimes I miss my club days with them.
Yeah. Or like going to the gym with just leggings and a sports bra on.
Yeah.
That's like how I would go to the gym every day. And here, I'm fully.
You're covered, but mainly because no one else is uncovered. It's not like LA in your little aloe set, okay? Like, it's just, but that's not, it didn't make life more difficult. It was just like adjusting to the way that people do stuff here and finding out what works for us. And it wasn't hard. In the best way possible, like it was not hard to move here. It's not that was hard. It's, you know, we're now away from family and like it was me and it was her and it was the people we had met on the trip. There wasn't anybody here like, oh, like here, don't worry, I'll do this for you and this for you. It was like, no, we really like, we booked a one-way ticket and we came here and we were like, yeah, this is going to work. We just have to work at it.
Yeah, put ourselves out there. We really like networked and we went balls to the wall with everything.
Balls to the wall. It's the only way. We've said this exact phrase, I think, in episode 2 and in episode 1. Maybe we'll say it every episode.
Every episode. Balls to the wall. You have to when you're going like full force into something and just kind of leaving your life behind. And you know what? We're going to be crazy and try this idea out. Like you really have to put your 100% into it.
Yeah.
And we really did that. And honestly, I think it did make it easier living in a country like this because life is so much more simpler in the best way. Like people here, I feel like really value family time, friends, and just like happiness. It like all of the things don't matter, like designer bags or a fancy car. Like you really, it's just a simpler life. And I feel like people are a lot happier here because of it.
you just prioritize the right things in life. And like, I think that was the biggest adjustment and like positive thing to this was like, I was an overconsumer like most Americans are. I'm an American. This isn't a roast, okay? Like, I realized how much we overconsume and how you begin to prioritize the wrong things in life. And when I came here, it's like, now I am a simple girl. Okay, I'm not trying to be a pick me here, but now I'm a simple girl. Before, okay, I had every beauty product you could possibly want. I had 5 to 10 of everything. My closet was double the size it is now. Like, now I live life a lot more simply. I thrift everything that I own. This whole outfit is thrifted from a thrift shop here. And who should sponsor us? So I'm not going to say their name. But yeah, you just like, you learn how to prioritize the right things. It actually like contributes positively to the work that you're doing, and it's just better. The important thing during this time is like, not only did we have the pressure of like trying to create a life for ourselves by creating this company, but also moving to this new country. And I think like it was really important for us during this time to like make sure we were supporting each other, because we only had each other. Like, yes, we had the people that we had met and stuff, but at this point we hadn't developed the friendship and the like home feel here that we have now. And I think like, even though we were working our asses off, we were also keeping it fun. We had nights out, like we were keeping it fun and like trying to not overwhelm ourselves with the fact that like we were making all these crazy decisions at once. But it really wasn't hard. I think that also like solidifies how much of the right decision this was.
Yeah, true. It felt really natural coming here, and it already felt like home, even though we hadn't made those connections that we have now. And like, we've been welcomed into families just with open arms, which has been so incredible. But coming here, like, I think also because we didn't know how long we were going to be here for, and we started off with just 3 months to test it out, see how much we could get done in that time. It kept it fun. And we know that this isn't our forever home. Obviously I want this to be a part of our lives forever, and we will always come back here. And this place has a special place in my heart. And I think that also plays a role into it, is like, we know this isn't forever, and this is such a fun and cool part of our lives. Like, this will never be in this position again. So like, we're really trying to make the most of it while working our asses off.
100%. And I want to reiterate, like, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. Like, we've had extremely difficult moments here. And even most recently. But at the end of the day, like, it has been more positive than it has been negative. We've had so much growth. And I think like, if you're looking to make a decision like this, or you're trying to start something, like, of course you're going to have negative moments, but the ones that we remember are the positive ones. And so, you know, even just starting this process, like, we just told you the whole spider house from hell story. Okay, so I didn't start off fun, but now we look back on that and we laugh and we're like, of course that happens. It's like the world and life will test you through trying to do something like this. And it's like, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to laugh it off and move forward, or move past like a really difficult time, or are you going to let it stop you? And I think like, of course, that is one story of many that we've gone through that we don't necessarily need to touch on, but it's important to just know that like, the positive outweighs the negative in this equation. And it really was like a smooth transition. It wasn't like a super difficult adjustment. We did not have a lot of money up front to start this company, so we needed to find very creative ways to try and build without a lot of money up front. And obviously social media is like the number one reason we were able to build. I think that when we came here and just started to do all this brainstorming, one of the things that we knew we had to do was be absolute yes women. Say yes to everything. If somebody invites you to coffee, to drink, to anything, and especially people that have lived here for a long time, even if they're not in business, just saying yes to everything. And that's really what we did. I mean, we were going out and getting coffee and drinks with people all the time, and just really building connections with this community, because we were building the brand, but also like, because we were living here, we're always going back and forth from the US, but because we were going to be here for an extended period of time building this company, we knew we wanted to build community simultaneously. And so that's what we did. We said yes to everything. And I think that's a really important part to building a brand, is like open-mindedness and adjusting to where you're at and building community with the people that you're around.
Yeah, that is huge for starting a brand and just for making friends in a new place. Like, I moved from Louisiana to California. I had to do the exact same thing. I had to say yes to everything. The moment you meet someone that you think you might vibe with, text them immediately after, ask for their number, text them immediately after, like, let's get coffee. Let's like follow up with them quickly. And that's what we did. Like
100%.
When we met, we're like, let's get a drink. You know, like you have to kind of jump on these opportunities, say yes to everything, to build friends, to build a network, to build a brand. I think also when people started recognizing us here and thanking us for showing Guatemala in like such a beautiful way and showing what it really is like, that's kind of when I feel like I was like, oh, this is okay, we're doing something here. Like maybe this is gonna work. I feel like I've always known that it was gonna work. You have to be delusional when you're starting a company. But I don't think it's delusional. I just really believe in what we're doing. And I know that there are people out there that are our customers, our community, like people that want to travel in the way that we like to travel, want to see new places. Like our people are out there and we are building our community. And I feel like when people started recognizing us and thanking us and like, you know, that was when I was really like, okay, we're coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm the same way. Like I believed in us so much when we had nothing at all. But like the particular moment for me that I was like, I don't know if there's like a particular moment, but I think like when we started having people in Guatemala that are involved in tourism or businesses in general, like start following us and noticing us. And like you said, like locals noticing us and being like, thank you so much for showing our country. Also like when we did the Republica Guate interview, like that's a huge honor. It's a big news source here. And we talked about like what we want to do in tourism with sustainable tourism in Guatemala, and just like having people see what we've done on social media and be like, wow, this is an interesting project. We want to hear more about it. I feel like is very validating. But like we say, like we're bringing you along on the process. We are by no means a super successful company yet. Like we've built up to this point, and I think like now is really the strategic work of like starting to make a lot of money doing something like this. Like how do you make money doing this while also maintaining the mission of what you want to do and like making it feasible for a long time. Like this is something we'd like to do forever, and building the great foundation I think has been crucial, and it's like something you have to work through. There's really tough times building a startup, and when people say that, they mean it, because it is really difficult. As much as it can be rainbows and butterflies sometimes, like there's a lot of sacrifices you make to do a startup like this. And I think like we really in this past couple months have like come to a point to where we're like, okay, here's what we need to do, of like really reaching that point of having it, you know, like blow up per se. Tourism in Guatemala is increasing so much, and Guatemala is becoming more apparent to people and like an interest in tourism. That's amazing. And that's why we're trying to like really piggyback off of that and use it as an opportunity to do more tourism here and do it as sustainable as possible. Preserve the beauty of the country is so important to us, and it's important to Guatemala. So ultimately, it isn't always easy. You know, as we talked about in this episode, we had a spider-infested house. We've gone through a lot, but ultimately, like, it is worth it in the end.
It is, and it doesn't happen overnight. You really have to put yourself out there, poke the universe, and it will poke you back. That is what my dad always told me, and it's so true. You really have to go and make things happen and really put in a lot of effort, and things will start to happen to you.
Moving to a new country, it doesn't start your life over automatically. You have to build that life for yourself day by day, and it's what we've been able to do here, and it's what has led to, you know, the little success that we have gotten with our company. If you've ever dreamed of moving abroad or starting a crazy decision like this, we want to hear from you guys. So make sure and DM us on Instagram, borntobelocal.pod on Instagram.
Thank you so much for watching.
Yes, thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for listening. If you're listening on Spotify, we really appreciate it. Make sure and follow us on Spotify, Born to Be Local Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube, also Born to Be Local Podcast. And follow us on Instagram and TikTok. That is borntobelocal.pod. Make sure and follow us. We clip things, we'll put it on there. If you want to watch us on YouTube, subscribe. If you don't want to see our faces, I get it, kind of. But you can listen on Spotify, so make sure and follow us on Spotify and give us feedback. Also, we are open to your feedback. If you want to hear something specific, comment on the YouTube video, or you can comment on Spotify, or you could just reach out to us and tell us you don't like the episode and you want to hear this.
Yeah, roast us.
That's fine. But thank you so much for listening. Can't wait for the next episode, and we'll see you guys later.